What's up, everybody? Welcome to the off-season episode of this Colts franchise here on Pastor's Game 2. It is season number 2, and we have some things to work out on this team. We're progressing in the right direction, but we're not quite there yet. Hopefully, in this off-season, we can get a little better and solve some of our problems. We're coming in with some draft problems, don't have very many picks this year, and we've got some cap problems as well. But we've had some really great players. We've had Devante Adams leading the league in receiving. We had Offensive Player of the Year. Did we get Offensive Player? No, we got Defensive Player of the Year with the cornerback with Eric Stokes. And then we had Alvin Kamara having one of his best running seasons in NFL history. Alec Pierce, also number 2 receiver. So we've got a lot of potential on this team. Anthony Richardson is still here, going up and down as a player. But let's get to it. We're going to get into the offseason. Here are some of the needs that we have. We need a fullback. We need to get wide receiver, the left guard, the center, left tackle, tight end, and then on defense, the left end, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, strong safety, and then a punter. And we need to try to get a couple of draft picks. So that is a lot that we need to take care of. The focus for this offseason is, can we improve the line, the offensive line and the defensive line? That's kind of the main focus. I definitely want to get the left end issue. I would love to get a rusher off of the left end. And so we'll be looking to try to fill that. And we definitely want to strengthen the offensive line. Here's a look at the free agents. The free agents in the house. Joel Batano, top free agent, and is very interested in joining our team. I thought a lot about Joel on this first run to see, man, is this somebody we want to do? He's 33 years old, but there's a part of me that doesn't mind getting some of these older, good linemen. You know, can we get them and really sort of be able to give Anthony Richardson a lot more time, maybe give the running game some room. But we didn't end up making an offer for Joel. Here's a Tua Tagovailoa, by the way, out in the free agency. Obviously we don't want to pick him up, but interesting that he's out there. But there's a lot of offensive linemen. You had the the right guard at the beginning, and you had the left tackle. But we decided to go and look at the fullback. I know the fullback is an aging position in the NFL, but we like to run with the fullback, and we need a good fullback. I thought about Alec Ingold. Just the Raiders in me was like, man, can we make a offer to Alec? And so we thought about it, but didn't actually make the offer. Thought maybe there were maybe some other prospects. Scroll down here and look. There's Reggie Gilliam. He's okay. Didn't have enough speed for me, though. Scrolling down, found this guy. We found Chandler Roth. 74 speed for a fullback is not too bad. But what was important to see is, does he have some good blocking stats? So his run block was 72. And I think what am I looking for? I think I'm looking for the lead block. Yeah, lead block was pretty good as well. So we decided to make an offer for Chandler Roth, 3-year deal with about $1.2 million per. We do decide, in second thought, to go back and look at Joel Batano. We make an offer with this guy, 92 overall. We're like, man, can we really improve the offensive line? Also looked at Christian Darrisaw. He's another guy, a left tackle, 87 overall. And we looked at all of those guys to see what would happen. And Joel did not sign with us. He decided to go with the Arizona Cardinals, which kind of hurt my feelings because I was starting to really like the idea of him. But here's Christian Darrisaw still thinking about it. So we thought, well, man, maybe we can sweeten the pot a little bit, make a little extra, put a little something on it, especially since we weren't going to get Joel. And so we try to see what we get with that. And so we're going to see. We didn't do our actually. Oh, my bad. I was about to say we didn't do our offers, like evaluations, but we have another player that we're going after. This is the center, Wyatt Teller. I'm sorry, he's not a center. He's a right guard. But yeah, as you can see, we're going after the offensive lineman and Wyatt Teller. Man, if we can get 87, again, trying to get 85 and up on 3 or more offensive linemen to really make it go. Okay, now we did the evaluation, and Wyatt Teller, our first sign, will join us, but Christian Darrisaw is not. He will go to the Los Angeles Rams, and so we are without our top 2 choices. We did get our third choice, but the journey to improve the line is still there. All right, this is our first trade of the year. We were running out of cap, and we're looking at Alvin Kamara. Been thinking about really letting the last year's draft pick get an opportunity to run. If you've been following us, you know that the running back that we have is very similar to Alvin Kamara. He's going into his second year, so we thought we're going to go ahead and see if we can trade Kamara and his contract and see if we can get better in other places. And so we do find a suitor. It's the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears will receive Alvin Kamara, Cam McGrone, and Jelani Woods, along with a 7th round pick, all for the 2nd round pick. Now, here's the deal. Our team does not have a 1st round or a 2nd round, or at least we didn't have a 2nd round until that. And so it was important for us to get into the draft. And so moving Kamara gave us a little money to be able to spend in the free agency. And it also gave us that draft pick where we can pick. So with the new money, we came out and we try to fill our wide receiver holes. Quez Watkins and Scotty Miller will get some offers, and we'll see if they accept the offer. And so that's the end of week 1, and it's on to week 2. All right, so I probably should have put a yellow line for the draft picks. We only have a 2nd round. We still don't have a 1st, I think, or a 3rd. All we have is a 2nd, actually 2 seconds now, and 4th, 5th, and 6th. But we did get the one lineman, and so that's good. So looking at our signings coming after the advancing of the week, we did get Scotty Miller, and we did get Tyron Smith, which is fantastic. So we did get a couple players, and we still have that fullback holding out, and we have the wide receiver holding out. So we start looking at some of the defense on this in this week, and we thought about Jamin Davis. And the reason we thought about him, actually pretty set at linebacker, but I thought maybe one of our linebackers will be one that we can convert to that left end. And so that's what that role, that's what Jamin Davis's offer was actually trying to do. Then we add Josh Meyer to the center conversation because we want to back up. We actually walked into this draft with 0 centers. We had no centers. And so we are trying to get 2 of them in the free agency. So if you're not catching it, we don't have draft. We're having to really change our team or fix the holes in our team with the free agency. Another big trade goes down. This time it's Pharaoh Brown and Boogie Basham and a 3rd round pick for moving up the 3rd round rank. So we didn't like that we were down at the bottom of the 3rd round. We traded with Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay gave us a 3rd round pick number 1, I guess, pick number 1 in the 3rd round. Also gave us some cap space, and we looked at Khalil Mack and started to fall in love with Khalil Mack as an idea for the team to fix that edge that I was talking about. And so we did get Jamin Davis, but Khalil Mack does not sign with us. He's going to Minnesota. He's just a star dev, and he's an older player at this point, but just didn't work out. So we do actually move Jamin Davis. I know we kind of signed and traded him, but we trade him to the Jets for Johnson III. Johnson III has some really good block shed, and that's what we started to really fish for in the to fill that left end role, and we're looking for speed. And so we're able to trade an 81 player in Jamin to get a 74 or 75. I can't remember what his number was. Let me see if I can get it here. His trade was 75. Yeah. So it's a 75 overall for Jamin. So that's kind of what went down with that. Here's a look at some of the prospects that we were thinking about going into the draft. Again, we don't have a lot of draft capital, and so these are the favorites. You see Gabe Shepard, Nicholas Grubbs, Joe Dixon. We'll take a look at these a little bit closer in a minute. But you see round 1, 2. We probably won't get Gabe Shepard because, it says round 1 and we don't have a round 1. But Gabe Shepard has some pretty good statistics, 4.8 seconds on the sprint, and a few other things. So Gabe Shepard, he's got 3 A's and an F, but we don't need him for zone coverage. Again, this will be a player that if we're able to draft him, we'll might want to convert him to the left end. I know we just signed a left end, but he's only 75 overall. So if we can get better there, I'm cool with it. So Gabe Shepard has some pretty good numbers here. Pretty good grades here. The awareness is good. The block shed is good. That's the big one, I think, the block shed. And he had some other, and A in tackling, I think it was. Nicholas Grubbs, another player that we'll be very interested in. A lot of elites in his ratings. He is projected to be a round 1, round 2. So we might be able to get Nicholas Grubbs. It could happen. He could fall to us potentially, or maybe we find a way to trade to get into the first round. Another great prospect, though, looking really good. A for awareness, B for block shed, and A for stamina. Not too bad. Looking at JD Dixon, he's a round 3, 4 talent coming out of Notre Dame. Has some great player notes. Don't know everything we need to know about him, but he's 80% scouted. He looks pretty good to me too. He's the kind of player that we like. Speedy on the left end. He'll be a actual linebacker, not an edge rusher, and could be some solid backup for our linebackers. All of our linebackers are pretty young and just getting started, and we are very slim at linebacker. But that zone coverage AB, and that stamina, that pursuit is AB, and the block shed is AB, makes him very interesting. Next up is a left end Spencer Becton. Spencer is a potentially undrafted free agent, but he's got a couple A's here. A in tackle, A in finesse moves. Could be a good player, late round, potentially a spoiler. Not a spoiler, a sleeper, potentially. So we kind of like him, have him on our radar. Again, we've got to figure out how to get good from the bottom of the draft since we're not really at the top. And so he's a guy. Another defensive tackle, again, trying to strengthen that offensive line and the defensive line. Trayvon Williams looks pretty good as well. One of the better, he's got great statistics for a round 3, round 4 defensive tackle. Really good athletic numbers, solid pro day. A little less, he was doing a little worse in some areas on the pro day than his original combine stuff. But yeah, finesse moves, don't love that C for block shed, but for a round 3, round 4 prospect, looks very good. Jaden Fisher, out of TCU. Jaden Fisher, another really good player, could fall to us. Again, looking at left end, like him a lot. Most of these guys I would take. Of course I would. They're on my draft board. But a solid player here. Maybe, I don't know if it's worth trading up to try to get to him. But if he falls to us, we've got a lot of options for the left end. Now, this is one of my favorites. Devante Short is a round 3, 4. We do have him fully scouted, and he's a round 1, 2 talent. If he falls to us, I think he could be something really special. And if we can get this guy alongside Calvin Rose, which is the defensive tackle we got last draft, then we could be young and strong on that defensive line. And we may be putting the final pieces of our team together that can really, really grow with each other. Devante has some really good numbers, and so we're interested in him. And here's another player, Richard Tapp, another sleeper, 3-4. I think he's a 3-4. I think he's a sleeper. Looks pretty good for a 4th or 3rd round pick, and we'll be looking to try to get him a little more scouted. Just 50% isn't enough. We need a little bit more to know what we got with Richard Tapp. So obviously no offensive players are being looked at in the draft. We're looking to the draft to get better on defense. We've done a lot of moving on the offensive side with the free agency. And with the trade to Alvin Kamara, we're going to give the young running back every opportunity to make a name for himself with a solid line, hopefully. So if we can get these players to go ahead and sign with us. All right, so here is where we are in our roster needs. We have our fullback, we have our wide receivers, left guards, center, left tackle, and the right guard. And we do have a left end with the trade, and we do get 2 draft picks in this particular scenario. So we have some excitement going into the draft, a little bit more than we had when we were getting started. All right. So we start week 3 back in the free agency. Here are the players that was signed. It's kind of a recap to everybody. Tua Tagovailoa goes to Houston. We saw that Joel went to the Cardinals. Tyron Smith does come to us. Christian Darrisaw goes to the Rams. We talked about that. DeAndre Hopkins, this is his 2nd year that he's been in the free agency. This time he's going to the Commanders. He'll be there to try to make a name for himself. Makes it a little bit easier for us in our conference, though. Teron Johnson goes to the Cardinals as well. And we've got Micah Hyde with Detroit. Owusu Koramoah goes to Carolina Panthers. And Jared Goff will be in Tampa Bay. Elijah Moore to Jacksonville. And Elijah Mitchell to Tampa Bay as well. As well. David Andrews, former Colt, is going to be moving on. And Adrian Amos goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Jonathan Jones, cornerback, goes to the Steelers. Jordan Poyer, man, we thought about Jordan Poyer. Maybe we come back to him later. Quinn Meinerz also goes to Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams thinking like we are, trying to get a little bit stronger on the offensive line. And they look like they're going to get it done. Michael Thomas still wants to play, but nobody wants to play with him. So sad, JoJo. All right, so it looks like, and you look at the mock draft number 5, looks like Gabe Shepard is slated to go to the Oakland Raiders. I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders. And so he probably won't fall to us. But we're looking through here to see, is there any of our other players that we were looking at? There's Marcus Beckers. Okay, that's not the same. We were looking at Spencer Becton, so that's not the same guy. There's Nicholas Grubbs, the defensive tackle. He looks like he's going to go to the Bengals if this mock draft plays out the way we think. So a couple players off of our board, although, it's just a mock draft, so who knows? So we're going into the draft. Let's take a look at what we get here. The Chicago Bears decide to go with the right end, David Harrison, with their first pick. I think this draft had a lot of linemen, a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of offensive linemen. It wasn't the Bears that picked, it was Tampa Bay that picked that. Anyway, you guys see it. New York Giants is Mike Freeman, cornerback from Louisville. He is going to be a Giant. Giant needs all the help they can get on the defensive side of the ball. Left tackle Joe Spicer goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona looking to get a little bit better on the offensive line. Lots of linemen again are in the top prospects. Al Smith, cornerback, goes to Tennessee. I guess we'll get a chance to see him twice a year. So we'll test him out. Maybe Devante. Devante will test out Al Smith and get him used to the NFL. Pat Livingston, the first quarterback taken, going to Green Bay. Green Bay, where is the love in Green Bay? Literally, they have a young quarterback in Love, unless they don't. I don't know. Dwight Bennett, right outside linebacker, goes to Houston. He's out of Penn State. I remember when Penn State was a big powerhouse college that would be able to produce some NFL players. And we always like to see Auburn players. Andy Moore, right tackle for the Atlanta Falcons. Randy Moore goes to Atlanta to see if they can get a little bit better. And there he is. Shepard does go to the Raiders, and we won't be able to draft him, but that's okay. We hadn't fell in love with him, and I'm very curious to see what kind of player he's going to be. Johnny Bradley, free safety from USC, goes to Philly. He's doing his thing over there, and it's another left end goes off the board. This one to the New England Patriots. Oh man, so many left ends, and that's the main thing that I need, or at least that I want. And I hate that we didn't have a number 1 draft pick to go after some of those guys. But maybe we found our guy with the trade. Maybe we will see. Another USC guy goes right afterwards. Here's Terry Tomlinson, Notre Dame defensive tackle. He's going to be at Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and the crew as they get ready to turn their team over a little bit. And Terry Tomlinson wants to make a difference right away. We'll see if he does. Jason Cheeks comes out of the University of Texas to play for the Houston Texans, cornerback. He's going to be, we're going to get a chance to see who he is and how so we got 2 cornerbacks that we are going to be facing off against, 2 young quarterbacks. On our rival teams. Denver Broncos draft the right tackle, Callaway, and the Rams go after a right tackle in Junior Alden. The Rams already have Darisaw. It was another lineman in the free agency, and then they draft yet another. So very interesting to see what's going on in Ramland. Pittsburgh Steelers go after the Stanford pick, and the second quarterback in the draft goes Theo Sampson from North Carolina. He's going to go to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers retired, and so they've got to figure out how to fill in his spot. Theo Sampson is going to be up next in New York. Glenn Temple, the right end from Tennessee, will be going to the Los Angeles Chargers, and that could be interesting. Maybe he's going to learn a little bit from Bosa. Is it Bosa? I think it is Bosa over there. Jimmy Johnson, another left end, goes to Pittsburgh. I'm very curious, again, how good these left ends are. I think that's the third or fourth left end that's gone. Sean Bolton, right guard, goes to Seattle. And the Raiders are up again with pick number, what pick are we on? I think we're on 22. They go with, who is that? Kellum, a Clemson halfback, the first halfback that goes in this draft. And this time we've got Calvin Wagner, another North Carolina prospect, left tackle, going to Miami. Miami still has all those speedsters, and we got to deal with them. All right, Jacksonville. Washington. Washington gets Franklin McGee, left tackle from UCLA. And Marcus Becton goes to South Carolina, the left outside linebacker. So far, so good. We've only had one of our players that we are really interested in taken. And some of the players that we really do want, they actually are not first round talent. And so we'll have an opportunity to go after them, I think. Will Bartow goes to Florida. Coming out of Florida, goes to the Dallas Cowboys to strengthen that defense. That defense has been pretty good. And if he's ready, he's just going to make them better. Right guard from Washington, Frank Burr, goes to Minnesota. Going to hold it down over there. Sending the Cincinnati Bengals go for Finnegan, Colorado prospect, left outside linebacker. We'll see if he's got anything. Jonathan Finnegan. Dwayne Wright, Michigan left tackle, goes to Detroit. And our pick is coming up very soon. We got about 5 more picks before we go. Another left tackle goes in the first round. This time it's Baltimore. Baltimore still fortifying their ground game with a offensive tackle. Although the left tackle usually protects the passer. But Andrew Kindley, Texas Tech running back, comes in the first round, goes to San Francisco. Will learn a little bit from Christian McCaffrey, but no doubt will be a backup. Javonte Douglas, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. And Tampa Bay is on the board. We're officially out of the first round. And this is the second round first pick. We have the second round second pick. Oh no, they took Nicholas Grubbs. This is the player. Oh my gosh, that's the player that we wanted. We wanted Nicholas Grubbs out of Notre Dame in the second round. Well, we decided to go left end. We go with Jaden Fisher, and he is a hidden dev trade. And from here on out, we're just going to just show the picks that we have. We won't go through all the teams and all their picks, but you can take a look at some of these core attributes. But happy to see the hidden dev trade there, and maybe Jaden Fisher can be something special. Maybe. With a second round pick and a second round and pick number 22, we do go with Devante Short. And this was a guy that we really liked. Defensive tackle. This was we were talking about this just a minute ago. Can we get Devante Short alongside Calvin Rose to have that young, strong middle? And I kind of like this guy. I'm hoping that he can come up and do his thing. It would be awesome to get a solid defensive line as well. Now we got Trayvon Williams. We saw him as well. He's another defensive tackle. Trayvon Williams, one of these guys will probably get converted. We don't need all three of them at defensive tackle, and we do need some other help on the defensive line. But a good player, this was a 3rd round pick for us. This is a 4th round pick, Spencer Becton. He's a normal dev, 77 overall, and he's a left end as well. So we got 2 left ends, and he has an F on block shed though, so that's going to be tough on him. We decided to go with wide receiver in the 6th pick, and in the 7th pick we do get a punter. So here's a look at the draft capital that we got this year. Jaden Fisher, 75 overall. Devante Short, 73 overall. And then Trayvon Williams is only 69. It's very interesting, but he is a hidden depth trait, so very interesting. Spencer Becton is 70 overall. We're looking over to see what kind of block shed does he have. And you have to go way over. 69 block shed, kind of like that. Here's a look at the overall draft recap. The best player in this draft, at least best rated player, is Artie Bass, the tight end. And you've got Harrison, Fitzgerald, Couples, Bolton, Spencer Bolton. I think that's no, that's not Spencer Bolton. Tomlinson, Conley, Burr, a lot of linemen. Right end, left end, right guard, defensive tackle. Conley, the halfback, he went at the end of the 1st round. Ended up being a pretty good prospect for Minnesota. No, not Minnesota, for somebody. Javier Glover looks pretty good. Don't see any of our players in this top list, though, the players that we were looking at. So maybe we dodged a few bullets. There's Jaden Fisher, 75 overall. Looks like we did pretty good, especially since we didn't have a 1st round draft pick. But yeah, you can take a look at some of the players there. You can pause the screen and take a look at some of the things. All right, so we're going to jump in and change a few things about our roster. So we drafted Devante Short. This is the defensive tackles. And Solomon Thomas. We don't need all 4 of these. Considering potentially trading or moving someone somewhere else. I think we're going to end up moving Trayvon Williams. First of all, we have too many Trayvons, so we're going to change this dude's name from Trayvon to just Trey, just because, Trayvon and everything. The Raiders had like 3 Trayvons last year. It's just one of those things. I think we want to change his number too, but we'll change numbers at some point. But I like what we have at defensive tackle. Here's what we're looking at on the right end. We got Devin White and we got Abukum. And then on the left end, we got 4 players. So we're probably going to go ahead and move one of these guys. I believe it's going to be Spencer Becton that we're going to move to the right end. And I think the plan with Jermaine Johnson and Jaden Fisher, I think the plan will be to start Jaden Fisher. They're both rated the same. Johnson has the better statistics, I think, where it comes to like block shed and getting through. But other than that, most of these are pretty close. The awareness, the rookie actually has the better awareness. But let's see, I think we're gonna change Spencer Becton here to the right end and get it done. But yeah, I really like the idea of, again, fortifying the offensive line and the defensive line. Offensive line is going to be fantastic, at least on paper. Looks really good. And we want to keep the ball. Anthony Richardson is not reliable with the pass at this moment. And so he may be, we just may need the run game. The defense has been okay, but we may need the run game to keep players off of the field. We were dead last as a defensive team last year, and some of that had to do with just us not having the ball long enough, and some of that had to do with just our defense not being very good. Gave up the run quite a bit. So we want to do a little bit better there. Jermaine Johnson and Jaden Fisher. Okay, yeah, we did make the move to Spencer, put him on the right end. Okay, what else are we doing here? Jermaine Johnson, again, that's the player we got from the Jets. Otto Warway, I don't know. I keep wanting to move him. He's a 24-year-old player, but he's gotten worse and worse every year because we don't play him. And I probably should try to play him. I don't know. Now that we have right ends, there's a part of me that wants to move Devin White off of the end and into the linebacker core. Right now we have just 4 linebackers. You got Trayvon Winters right here on the left outside linebacker, and we have only one right outside linebacker as well. So I'm kind of looking through to say, man, can I make space for linebackers? And so we do decide to go and hit the trade market, and wow, this is the trade of the century. Not the century, but this is a big move. After the draft, after everything, we decide to move Devante Adams, Solomon Thomas, and Abukum for Cam McGrone, DJ Moore, and a 2nd-round pick in the coming up draft. DJ Moore comes in. He is a solid player, but not the player that Devante was. And the idea here is to free up cap space, and it was to get rid of Abukum and his long contract, big contract, since we didn't have much with him. So you guys can tell me all what you think about that pick once we get to the end of it. And so here's the final report card on the season. These are all the things we did. We missed a few things. We may pick up a few players just before the preseason in free agency, but that's going to do it for this offseason. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and like, subscribe to the video, and I will see you when I see you. Peace.